Alright people, hi, this is NUSensei and welcome to another live stream. Now, you may be a little surprised to see me streaming right now, and there may be a few causes for concern. Now, there are several things which I didn't think I would do on this channel. And one of them is covering sensationalized news. What is going on in the World Archery community? So, hello to people in chat, by the way. That is going to be a very short live stream, hopefully. But this is a very recent event. This just happened today. By the way, a new shirt, as you can see. Thank you to Team Archerology and Linker for sending me this. That's a fantastic shirt. But the more important news comes from World Archery. And World Archery has banned Leo Leo Archery from all of their events. I have literally never heard of such a thing happening. This is a landmark case, and it's happening right now. So let's go to the World Archery website to see the official statement from World Archery. So we'll flick it over to our browser. And this is the World Archery statement on banning of Leo Leo products at World Archery events. So this is the 29th of May, that is yesterday or today, depending where you are. So this is the news. The executive board has banned the company from World Archery events. And the company, by the way, is a Chinese company based in Hong Kong. And given this is coming from the executive board, that's the top level of World Archery. This is not the communications officer or like a lower management level. This is the top. So the executive board has banned the company from World Archery events. Archery products produced by and persons representing the company Leo Leo, also known as World Grand Pacific, are banned from all World Archery events, with the company being considered a persona non grata without exception and until further notice. For those that understand the Latin or the terminology of persona non grata, it means person unwelcome, or person not welcome. And what this means basically is anyone who is affiliated with Leo Leo Archery is immediately kicked out of World Archery. Okay, so the opposite of persona non grata is persona grata, which means that anyone is welcome. This person is particularly welcome to this place. Persona non grata means that they are not welcome into this place. In this case, it's World Archery. So, the decision comes as part of World Archery's commitment to fight counterfeiting, as in line with the decision from the board of the Archery Trade Association dated July 2017 to banish any manufacturer caught copying products or stealing intellectual property. And we'll go to the ATA website. So the ATA is the Archery Trade Association, and this is their statement on counterfeiting. The archery industry has documented counterfeit bows, arrows, broadheads, sights, rests, and countless other products. It's up to us to work together to stop fakes from entering the retail marketplace. The statement is this: working to stop counterfeit products. Counterfeiting is difficult to stop because it's complex and widespread, but it's not unique to the archery industry. It's also a major problem for manufacturers in electronics, jewelry, clothing, and just about any industry where brand names matter. Counterfeiting's dramatic increase worldwide results from the growing dependence on e-commerce, where customers rely on online images and descriptions to make product choices. The ATA's crackdown relies on ATA members to be vigilant and provide evidence of counterfeiting to ATA staff. The board directed that ATA membership be used to identify legitimate manufacturers of archery and bow hunting products. The ATA is also working with the US Department of Commerce and US Trade and Development Agency to identify counterfeiters and fake products to stop illegal imports. What the ATA is doing: number one, denied trade show access. Manufacturers caught counterfeiting archery products will be banished from the Archery Trade Association and denied access to the annual ATA trade show. Now, this was news to me because at the previous trade show in 2017, ATA did publish a public notice on the website, which has since been deleted, which specifically banned, I believe, Toe Point and Junsing. I believe those were the two companies which were banned. I'm gonna double check this. Yes, player hunter, persona non grata can also mean a non-person. It doesn't literally mean that, but yes, you have no privileges as a person in this place. I want to double check something very quickly because I believe I want to double check the ban on ATA because it was deleted previously. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I can double check it very easily, but this is a big deal, all right, especially the ban from trade show. That's where a lot of these companies get their exposure, and I'll say this because like a lot of Chinese companies reach out to me because they need exposure, and I'm one of those avenues where it's easy to get things promoted, so I'm also affected by this. Yeah, it's Junsing and Toe Point. Those were the two companies which are banned from ATA. I have reviewed Toe Point products before. I wasn't that impressed, but I have reviewed them before. But yes, they have previously been banned from ATA. So the ATA stance is basically any company that's caught counterfeiting will be banned from ATA's trade show. So it's happened before. Junsing and Toe Point were guilty, and the rest are just generic stuff. So you need a logo. So manufacturers who are endorsed by ATA have their logo, and there's education of members. So that's the ATA point of view. Now the reason why I point this out is because what's interesting to me. What's interesting to me is that it's unusual for an international sporting organization to take a stance against a manufacturer or a private company. I don't know of other situations. There probably has been. There has to be situations where the official organization will boycott or ban a certain brand or manufacturer. If you've heard of anything like this in other sports, please let me know. But I haven't seen this in archery, because archery isn't that widespread, it's not that mainstream. But of course, because it isn't mainstream, there are many opportunities for companies to exploit, and in this case, counterfeit. Now, is it right for World Archery to take an official stand against a specific manufacturer? Because, again, like I said, it's a bit unusual for a sporting representative body to actually ban a manufacturer. It's almost like it's none of their business, right? Like business is business, and imagine the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, taking a stance against like Nike, for example, right? So there has to be something else, because it doesn't seem right for a national association or international association to ban a particular company. So let's keep on reading. But let's just join the feed. I'm going to continue with the statement. So we've established so far that World Archery has banned Leo Leo Archery. So we're halfway through reading through the statement. So here we go. So I said before that the company Leo Leo, also known as World Grand Pacific, is banned from all World Archery events. And this comes from the World Archery's commitment to fight counterfeiting. I didn't realize this was a thing, by the way, but if World Archery has decided to agree with the ATA and fight counterfeiting, then that's a call from World Archery. Like I said, this alone is kind of weird because it normally isn't the role of the sporting organization to act on behalf of the commercial trade organization. But there's a partnership there, so I imagine there's some mutual agreement and benefit. But this is what's really interesting now. In addition to the alleged counterfeiting, there is evidence that the aforementioned company attempted to impersonate officials from World Archery with a fake email account, worldarchery@outlook.com. Holy crap, now we're getting to some interesting tidbits here. So counterfeiting, yeah, it happens. But impersonating World Archery, now that is a different level. Wow. And this is where I think like World Archery is taking a stronger stand here, right? So anti-counterfeiting, okay, that makes sense. To an extent, like I said, I'm a bit surprised. I'm a bit surprised that, like I said, a sporting organization will actively fight counterfeiting products. But here we go. We've got a company allegedly impersonating World Archery. And it gets deeper too. There are I've dug up a few different tabs you can see before. They've got some different statements and examples from people involved. I'm not directly involved in any of this. I'm just reporting the news here. But what is going on here, right? So, the rest is a statement from World Archery in general. So, World Archery produces footage and images from its international tournaments, which are distributed to news outlets, television stations, and published via articles to promote and grow the sport of archery. This content is also made available for commercial use by companies if that company is part of World Archery's industry sponsorship program. And imagine, for example, manufacturers like Hoyt or Win and Win are allowed to use World Archery's material, like video or photos, as part of their own promotional material if they're part of the industry sponsorship program. Funds raised by this program are invested back into the sport. Any company that is not an associate member of World Archery but is using official content produced by the Federation is in breach of copyright. To avoid receiving a copyright release purchase notice, such companies are encouraged to contact the World Archery office without delay. Athletes and attendees at World Archery events are encouraged to continue taking photographs and videos for personal and non-commercial purposes. And that's a general statement. So you can take your own photos at World Archery events, and quite a few people, there are some people who are bloggers or reporters who do this, and that's completely fine to World Archery. But that's the crux of this is anyone who is representing Leo Leo or using a product made by Leo Leo is out of World Archery events. And again, that is without exception and without further notice, until further notice. That is the statement. There we go. That is where we are at with the situation. Now, let's see a few more bits of information that I've managed to dig up. So I've firstly looked up the this is reported in various places, and we have a Reddit page. Yeah, so I've linked a few things, but there are a few notes from a select handful of people. So Ogoli 700 has said they've been selling counterfeit Bitanox, had the nerve to threaten Andreas Lorenz from Bita when he called them out to it. They also falsely have claimed to be working with for Eastern, and have even had a fake Salt Lake City address, which turned out to be a rail station. They also had a fake World Archery email address, not to mention calling the product Nano X10, violating two separate company trademarks, that'd be the Carbon Express Nano and the Eastern X10, claiming fake endorsement by World Archery. I might have found this actual claim here. Right? A lot of this is allegations. I might have found where they've stated this. Also, fake Facebook personas like John Williams, stealing the identity of the Olympic champion of the same name. This is Dirty Grip. John Williams is a pretty common name, by the way, so I think this alone isn't necessarily indicative of identity theft, because John Williams is also like, a music composer for like the Indiana Jones series. So I don't know, it's a bit of a stretch, but wouldn't be surprised if that was true or not. Let's see. That's Crazy Mo4 says a lot of Chinese manufacturers have been caught doing shady stuff. As an example, let's say you design a bow riser and contract a company in China to make it, and then take the design. Okay, this is not really specific to Leo Leo, but a few companies have been accused of just like counterfeiting like Hoyt designs. Hoyt especially is a bit of a target here. I don't really see any more stuff here. And Memoria, who's the one who reported this on Reddit, said that it's kind of been the sports elephant in the room of companies reverse engineering stuff and producing largely substandard versions on the cheap. And I've mentioned this before in some of my cheap bow videos. Like, one thing you should try to avoid is buying the really cheap eBay stuff, because they are knockoffs. When I say they're Chinese knockoffs, I'm not actually exaggerating or making things up. They actually are Chinese knockoffs. So the ATA did ban people from last year's show, and WA have now got on that bandwagon as well. So there's still a lot of clarification here, whether it means all WA events or anything else that's World Archery related, to be determined. So what does this mean for us? Now, before that, let's talk on talk about Leo Leo itself. So I've tried to dig up a few things. So this is the Leo Leo website. So powered by World Grand Asia Pacific Limited. So this is the website. That's a logo. A lot of things are missing right now. Like, for example, if you go to like recurve bows, there's nothing. Apparently Leo Leo, which makes bows, don't sell bows. Okay, they sell jerseys. They do have this official looking jersey, which you can see here. That's their orange jersey. You can buy all the sizes, and you can buy, oh, boy or girl. Check out PayPal, of course. What else do they have over here? They've got nothing in the youth area. They make arrows, that I do know. So let's go to outdoor target arrows. So they've got the Leo Nano 10 Pro Tour. Oh, that's a bit of a copyright infringement there. That's an Eastern brand. The Leo Nano 10. Not sure if it says X10 or Nano X10. I know, the word, I mean, imagine like looking at the other side, right? The word nano itself isn't a product name. Like, nano just means really small, right? So nano by itself isn't really a copyright infringement. Nano 10 is not, nah. It's a bit hard to kind of copy that, but Pro Tour, we're getting somewhere here. I'm not sure if this is the current version of the name, or whether it's been rebranded, but some interesting stuff there. The indoor target arrows, we've got the Ulysses, interesting, and the Pinnock adapters, hunting arrows, what do we have over here? Nothing there, that. Gear, nothing here. Dual spine, nothing here. Components, and we've got just the points and stuff. So, yeah, nothing much to say here. They're tips and points. I can't see the knocks in it anyway, so I can't really comment on that. So that's the website from Leo Leo Archery. Now let's go to see some of their social media pages. So we have they've got a YouTube channel which has like nothing, so we're not going to count that. They do have a LinkedIn page which is fairly empty. It has a bit of a description which we'll go to later. And interestingly, it shares the same logo as their parent company, World Grand Asia, which is also the L. Now, this is the archery branch. It's based in Hong Kong Sporting Goods. If we go to World Grand Asia Pacific Limited, we'll see this stuff. So it's based in Hong Kong. The company's business include the following fields: new energy, chemicals, pharmaceutical raw materials, pharmaceutical intermediates, biological medicine, further processing of agricultural products, world archery supplier, to design and processing and worldwide sales. It's a bit vague, Chinglish there. Education, investment, international trade, e-commerce, etc. And we've got a website here. Year founded in 1990. Pharmaceutical, biological medicine, world archery, new energy. That seems to be where they're starting to, where people recognize the fake claims of world archery endorsement or sponsorships. Oh, Insica connection. I'm not going to touch that then. Let's not go to World Grand Asia Pacific. No, having to hurt me. So that I think is a bit of a giveaway. And down here, this is a little dodgy here. Special World Archery capitalized. Right, so that's the LinkedIn page. The Facebook page has a lot of followers here, like 25,000 people on Leo Leo. Not surprising, given that its outreach is quite large. But keep in mind that World Archery isn't that much larger either. So like they're very close in size, the communities. So Leo Leo has released a statement about an hour ago, as well as on the Twitter feed as well. So this is the response from Leo Leo. Leo Leo only didn't sponsor the World Archery Association, but we sponsored many individuals and countries in need to help them participate in the World Archery Cup and World Archery Championships. Due to here post some photos with World Archery from our sponsor. It's very Chinglish, so I can't really decipher it as clearly. Corruption really hinders. I believe it's mentioned that there are photos of previous events. So there are some world events with World Archery, and we should take photos of the participants. I'm not sure exactly which ones are from WA, because there aren't really a lot of Leo Leo sponsored athletes doing this. There are some, which we'll go to a bit later, but yeah. So corruption really hinders the normal development of the sports industry? Question mark. One organized and deceived is not any ability. If you translate this back to Chinese, you might get the actual meaning, but I can't figure it out from this one. Please hire the world's top lawyers to find out the truth and give the public a fair chance. And then they've got the same spiel here, blah blah blah. And we will expand the worldwide sponsorship and donation to individuals with real needs, organizations, and countries. Promote the civilization of archery so that everyone can benefit more from sports health. This is the responsibility and significance of a brand in the world. And interestingly, down here, there's an interesting little disclaimer. If you receive any person posting as ours, please identify 3 correct domain name email senders. If not, call the police or contact us. One of these 3. It has to be leoleo.us, leoleo-archery.com, or worldgrandherb.com. So that's a bit of a statement there. That's cheesy. Come on, Lily Wu is an employee of Leo Leo Archery, giving a 5-star rating. Bit of a giveaway there. And that's their Facebook page. Their Twitter feed has more of the same thing. They've got a pinned tweet from the World Championships 2017 of the Bhutan archery team. So that's Bhutan. And Bhutan is a very strong archery tradition, by the way. So you can see the kind of countries which Leo Leo might be targeting. So they've got the Bhutanese archery team, and they're wearing the bright orange Leo Leo shirt there. It's actually not. It's an interesting design for the shirt. I'm just going to comment on that. The others are wearing whether it's a national uniform or a personal sponsor. But you can see the Bhutan team is wearing their shirts there. 6 hours ago, they responded to the announcement on Twitter first. So we see the Twitter post here. Behind corruption is often driven by benefit. I guess it might mean something like there's a self-interest or greed that drives corruption. Again, Leo Leo only didn't sponsor the World Archery Association, which is not an association, by the way, but we sponsored many individuals and countries. Same statement there. And that's all that's said. They've got Snelder. I think Rick Snelder is a very young archer. I've got an interesting Rawdon Jones. I'm not sure exactly who this is. Rawdon Jones says XS Wings Pro Staff, and XS Wings is a very large company. Well, not very large, but it's a very popular brand of spin wings or thereof. And there's that logo from Leo Leo down there as well. So they're sponsoring a few individuals, not a lot, but some individuals, and they're using some of well, not using, but they're retweeting World Archery's post. So they're not appearing on the Facebook page, but they're appearing on the Twitter feed instead. In terms of what they're sponsoring, this is, I believe, the Indonesian team. I'm not going to play the video because, well, I will play it, but I've got it on mute right now because, holy crap, this is a very bad video. It's like construction in the background, but it's basically these guys from Indonesia. It's not a particularly good video, being it's basically a sponsored video here, and I looked through the product which they used to give away. 1990 leoarchery.com used to win more Olympic and World Championship. Interesting claim there. I'm just fascinated, by the way, that the box, it's kind of the Eastern inspired kind of thing. This is the Eastern kind of shape. The E goes in here normally. They've used similar font in some of the products as well. So it's a little, I mean, even this is kind of like the Hoyt font. So this is a Hoyt font, surely, right? Team Hoyt would use this. with the E for Leo. I mean, I'm stretching here. I'm going on a limb here, but it just seems they're using a lot of like branding imagery, which is you know, used by other companies. This probably isn't why they're banned, but we'll see how you get Spin Wings. Again, Spin Wing isn't a copyrighted name as far as I know. I'm gonna check this in a moment, right? I don't think the word Spin Wing itself is copyright. Let me double check here. Archery Spin Wing. Oops, I misspelled it. Archery Spin Wings, Range-O-Matic Spin Wing Vanes. Is this actually copyrighted? Because the Range-O-Matic is a company which makes the original Spin Wing. Is the actual name copyright? That's really interesting. Let's have a quick look over here. Because I'd be fascinated if it was. Here we go. This is Spin Wing. So that's the Range-O-Matic was the company which made it first. So the font interesting, by the way, because if you look at the video, look at come on, come on, Leo, you're not even trying here. So the Range-O-Matic make a Form Master. Oh, come on, come on. I mean, is that a trademark down below? Actually, can't see it. Let's see if we can zoom in. Is that a registered trade? Oh, it is. It is a registered trademark. I've really zoomed in deep there, but that's a registered trademark. That's the word Spin Wing is trademarked. Okay. Well, there we go. So, you can't call them Spin Wings. I mean, in archery circles, it's a bit of a tough thing for us because, like, we refer to Spin Wings as the generic brand name because they were the first one to make the curly there were curly vanes, by the way, so it's kind of hard to describe. I mean, I've called them performance vanes. They're not normal vanes, they're performance vanes. But people will often call them Spin Wings by the generic brand name. But the Spin Wings name is a registered trademark. And there are tons of these. There's excess wings, there's curly vanes, spider vanes, every kind of vane. But the word Spin Wing actually is copyrighted. I didn't know that. It makes sense. Now, what's dirty? Now that we're thinking about this, that's to copyright Spin Wing. But look at the font. Compare that to that. That is not accidental. It's the same font. Sorry. It's exactly the same font. Let's destroy some of these these tabs here. Sorry, no, I'll take it back. This is the actual Spin Wing. I mean, kind of chasing around. Okay, that's a Range-O-Matic one. Okay, so all right. So the package, the giveaway includes Range-O-Matic Spin Wings. Never mind. I'm kind of I apologize. That was not my intent to mislead. So what got me is that they've got every other thing in here that is from Leo Leo. I was carried away by all the similar font and branding. So it looks a lot like Eastern Arrows. The Spin Wings actually belong to Range-O-Matic. So I'm assuming that's legitimate. Although why they'll be included in this giveaway, I'm not sure. Whether Range-O-Matic actually supports them, but that was slightly misleading. I do apologize for any mistake there. So that was not my intent. But like I said, there's some suspicious of counterfeiting there. I don't think that was it. So that they wouldn't obviously brand a Range-O-Matic. They'll probably use their own brand name. So a bit of a mistake there, but that's what we've got so far. So that is the news. That is the news here. So what do we think, people? Thank you, Simon Flynn, for the $2 donation there. So no, it's nothing to do with Lars Anderson. That is not controversial at all. What is controversial is this, the statement from World Archery banning Leo Leo Archery, otherwise known as World Grand Asia Pacific. Shadowversity's fault. By the way, you can tell I'm Australian. Just saying. Wow. All right. So, what do we think, people? What any comments or questions on this? I do feel kind of bad for calling them out for the Spin Wings copy. We obviously had great detective skills by spotting the font, but of course it was the actual Range-O-Matic Spin Wings, and of course it's going to be that. It's a little silly there, but mistakes happen. What do we think, chat? Because the thing which kind of confused me too, Sky Surfer Boy, was that like that a lot of these companies have changed their packaging. Like for example, XS Wings uses a generic font. You can get this font anywhere. It's used for a lot of things. So when you see XS Wings, anyone can make an XS Wings logo, but their packaging also changed. So like now they have a different kind of packaging, which you don't have here right now. I mean, this is the XS Wings font. I'm not sure what the font is, but it's a generic font. You can get it anywhere. So you can recreate this. Like most tattoo parlors use this font because it's kind of edgy and kind of really cool. So yeah, like the packaging for the XS Wings have changed. It used to be similar to the Range-O-Matics, but then they created like much better like mini booklet kind of things, like matchstick booklets. And I haven't used Spin Wings for ages. I used to use the old when I used to buy Spin Wings, they came with like a colored cardboard insert, different colors depending on which one you got. But it seems now they have a much more professional, formal kind of like mini sleeve. That's why I didn't recognize to begin with. So they didn't copy it. It's just Range-O-Matic have updated their packaging. I didn't recognize it. But So what I'm concerned about is, well, you know, like I said, a lot of companies, especially Chinese companies, reach out to me to review stuff. I mean, previously, back when I reviewed Toe Point, you know, there was controversy over Toe Point because Toe Point at the time was just banned from ATA. Now, again, I'm not affiliated with World Archery or ATA or any of these Chinese companies directly. I sometimes review their products, and we have the issue of the language barrier and the culture barrier. So, what may be okay in China to push certain products might not come across as the right sort of thing to do in the Western market. So we have a very big gap between the Chinese manufacturers and the Western manufacturers, which is what what Leo Leo seemed to hint at in their Twitter feed. There was an America versus China trade war going on, which is interesting. Alright, Simon of Flynn, you got a good question there. So would they be likely to reverse their decision if the infraction was quickly rectified, or would they look to make an example? That's a very good question here. So if we go back to the statement from World Archery, I'm not sure if you just joined me, but if you go back to the official statement, it doesn't seem like this is a minor infraction. So the point of this is, like, they were caught, or they were allegedly counterfeiting stuff. Okay, this is not something you rectify. If you counterfeited products, legitimate products, that is something that's held against you forever. You can't rectify this. Like, how do you rectify counterfeiting? That would mean that you would have to like unmake it. Like, what do you do? Like pay the license fees and royalties and retroactively pay fees to the original manufacturer. I don't think there's a way for you to actually come back from that. And then you have the issue of the alleged use of the fake World Archery email. If it actually happened, how do you address that? Because it is clearly something that was done with malicious intent. You don't accidentally make a World Archery email address. Could they be welcomed back to World Archery? This is where I'm kind of in two minds here, right? So, and on one hand, punishment is punishment. If you get on the blacklist for a reason like counterfeiting and you've pissed off World Archery enough, to do so, then I doubt they'll reverse, especially because they've made a hostile response on their social media. So they're calling for people to represent them in the courts. They want to defend themselves in the public eye. So there is they're trying to, they're not accepting this, and this is what I mean. When companies get sanctioned, often they will identify what they did wrong, if anything, and they will take steps to remedy that situation. But when your response is to oppose it and say, we didn't do anything wrong, we're going to fight World Archery on this, then I don't think there'll be a resolution. I think there is a disagreement and a conflict, and the company and World Archery will have to now sort it out. But World Archery controls World Archery events, which means in the future, when it comes to like Olympic Games, for example, Bhutan might not be able to compete because the Bhutanese shooters are Leo Leo pro staff, technically speaking. So if they turn to an event wearing a Leo Leo shirt, then they might not be welcome. They are persona non grata. So Leo Leo can't represent themselves. And while a pro staff doesn't, they don't work for the company, they still represent the company in some capacity. So that might be an issue later on. So yeah, will they remove it from their blacklist? Who knows? I have no idea. It just doesn't seem quite right here. There's a question before as well. Tigress, do you think any of Leo Leo products could have gotten into the normal Australian market, and should clubs look out for these products? Tigress, very good question again. Very, very good question. Now, there are two kinds of counterfeiting which you might see, more so in a wider scheme of things rather than archery. But there are two types of counterfeiting. One is when you make a knockoff of that product. So if you have a product and you copy it and you sell it under your own brand name, or it might be a knockoff brand name. So instead of having a Sony PlayStation, you have a phony PlayStation, or a game station, which you see a lot of them in China, the game stations, or something similar to that. So you basically make you use the brand name, or you make a knockoff of the brand name. So it's an imitation product. That's one way of counterfeiting. The other way of counterfeiting is when you actually make that product. You fake that product, okay? So a good example is shoes, all right? So you have a brand of shoes. If the Chinese manufacturer then sells that template, or takes a template and reproduces it in a different factory, and they can basically just make fake versions of this product. So that's what the question is going to talk about. I've covered both, okay? So therefore, if you think about like bows or risers, would you actually see would you actually see like fake risers? Because a lot of the companies do manufacture in China. A lot of them don't. And some Korean companies do, for example, like Win has Chinese factories. Wouldn't be surprising. Hoyt, for example, does not. It's made in America, as far as I know. But you know, like hypothetically, could you find a fake Hoyt? And the answer is well. For archery, I've no proof to say yes or no. I doubt that you'll find fake American brands from Chinese companies. So you wouldn't find a Hoyt that is manufactured in China, sold in Australia. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. One, because of the dealership arrangements. So a retailer in Australia would have to source directly from the supplier. So, for example, a shop here has to be a partner, has to be an official distributor. That's why running a shop can be very difficult, because you need partnerships with the parent company, with the manufacturer. So just because I have, let's say, a new archery store, I need to be able to source product. That means if I want to stock Win product, I need to work directly with Win. They need to send me product, and I have to work with them to get product. And apparently Win and Win, it's apparently hard to work with due to various communication issues and other things, whereas Hoyt seem to be much better with customer service. So a lot of shops will happily stock Hoyt, and they'll try to stock Win and Win, but sometimes not both. And so on with other companies. So they may get a certain amount of generic stuff and certain amount of stuff from different brands, but they might primarily deal with one or the other. Another example, it's why Uka is very hard to find in Australia. I think the only official Uka distributor was Find It Archery Supplies up in Queensland. That closed down years ago. So, yeah, you need to be able to source or have a partnership or distributor arrangement with a company. So am I going around in circles here? Hopefully not. But my point is that you probably won't find a fake Hoyt or a fake Win and Win because they have to buy directly from the supplier. All right, there is no third party here. You can't find a third party warehouse of archery gear and therefore send you stuff for cheap. Archery is so expensive, especially in Australia, because we have to buy from the supplier. This is probably a good thing, by the way. Now, that is my first answer to Tigris's question. You will not find counterfeit products in the Australian market. What you may find is on the online market, eBay and Amazon, where a company may sell a very similar, in other words, identical version of a riser. Because what they do is they basically reverse engineer a product that was been made by a legitimate company. So instead of making fake Hoyt Epics, for example, they will create a bow which is basically a cheap version of the Hoyt Epic. Same shape, same design, same features, but at a fraction of the price. That is where you might come across things. Now, years ago, I made a video called Why Should Avoid Cheap Bows, Cheap Equipment. And there are several Australian online retailers who sell very cheap recurve and compound bows. And I've been critical of them. One, because the bows feel very cheap. And two, some of these are actually knockoffs of actual brands. And for years we've said this, but they actually have an official statement like this from a big organization that's saying a lot. So that's where I'm coming from here. I don't think you'll find fake products, but you will find alternate versions made by Chinese companies. Arrows are a good example of this. The arrows are really easy to counterfeit because you basically come up with a lot of knockoff counterfeits. Risers, compound bow designs, there are a lot of similarities. That's why companies like Toe Point and Junsing were banned from ATA, because in the past they have counterfeited American designs. And you just search up Toe Point or Junsing, or in this case Leo Leo, which is kind of hard to find. But you maybe, especially on archery talk on the forums, you will find some comparisons between different bows and kind of different allegations of counterfeiting. But yeah, like the Chinese companies will mostly sell on the online market, Amazon, eBay, AliExpress, whereas the brick and mortar shops will not buy from the online store. And that's why you should buy more things from brick and mortar shops, retailers, actual retailers, because they work with the companies. As easy as it is to buy cheap equipment online from eBay, you're not supporting an actual shop. You're basically buying cheap knockoffs, possible counterfeits or rip-offs from a Chinese company, and not supporting, one, the manufacturer, and two, the shop you might buy it from. So that's the heart of the problem here. It's why, I guess, with the ATA and with World Archery working together to fight against counterfeiting, that's the problem. Like I said, it's unusual for an organization to stand with a commercial entity or a representative body to fight against a private business or manufacturer. It's a bit unusual to do that. But like we said, we have some other reasons involved here, including the way that World Archery has been portrayed or imitated in this case. I'm just gonna update a few of my pages, see if there's anything new, because this is like, it's happened like a day ago, and there might be some more things popping up, but it seems that things have quietened down a bit at the moment. There was a question before. New archery supplies. Nunu is a League of Legends character. Can't do that. Question for everyone, Carlos. Can anyone tell me how I can send a video to the technique for my form check? Email me. You've probably found the email already. That's fine. But yeah, I've got like 2 or 3 videos lined up, so you can send me something, Carlos. I'll be quite happy to look at it shortly. Simon Flynn again. What do you think that be considered to be worse, the counterfeiting of the patent designs or the email fraud? That's why I'm so confused. Not confused, but I'm not sure the exact angle it comes from, because you have to also recognize the power play, right? World Archery relies on the support of major regional organizations. The ATA is one of them. It is the largest archery trade show. In America, you have like gun shows every like second weekend or something, every weekend. But archery shows are a lot hard to come by, because there isn't like a national convention or international convention where people can sell stuff. Often manufacturers will go to key events. For example, if you go to the Vegas shoot, you'll find all the bow manufacturers and companies will be out there with their stands and selling their items and so on. And the ATA is like perhaps the only archery specific one for all archery apps, you know, training gear, hunting gear and all that. So there would be some pressure from ATA and for World Archery to stand against counterfeiting. If ATA says no, it's not on, then WA, if they want support from ATA, they can't allow ATA, or they can't allow counterfeit companies to be featured on their platform. So that's why I think there is something a bit more to this than just the copyright infringement or the counterfeiting of patented products. Because like I said, I don't think it's World Archery's business to enforce patent design or to enforce copyright or to enforce anti-counterfeiting measures. I mean, World Archery should be more concerned about things like doping, for example, which doesn't happen in archery, but you know, like they have to deal with the things which affect the sport. So things like match fixing, corruption, that sort of thing. That's more what the sporting body does. So when they take a stand against a commercial thing, that's when things get that's strange. So that's why I feel that the email fraud might be more of what is triggering them. There's the supposed allegations of false claims of being affiliated with World Archery, which Leo Leo have denied in their social media post. But if you look at the LinkedIn page, they still have the World Archery connection. So they have made a claim. We just saw that before. So they have made a claim somewhere in their professional public profile, which has been false, debunked or disproven by World Archery. So to answer the question, Salman, I mean, in our perspective, the counterfeiting is probably worse, but I think from World Archery, it's the fact that, the allegation that World Archery's emails and personnel have been impersonated, that may be what has really pushed them to talk the top level. Neil has a point there. So counterfeit gear can be dangerous. That does make sense. This is common for, especially for a lot of things which involve a lot of risk. So like things like skis, for example, rollerblades, you know, like fake gear, okay, is generally lower quality. You don't lower price without sacrificing something else. So quality and safety may be issues. Would this be the reason why WA is concerned? Possibly. I won't discount that. But often it's not just like, I don't think safety is that big of an issue. Again, how many people actually use Leo products? It's not like there's been a failure rate of fake archery gear. I mean, you can imagine a bow that's really poorly made, potentially causing harm to something if it blows up or something. But Like, how many people use Leo equipment, arrows or bows, and how many use them at World Archery level? So, given that there's been like 0 incidents of compromised safety at any stage of the World Archery events, to me, that's not the cleanest reason. It might be a reason, it might not be the cleanest reason, or the easiest reason to process. Good point, though. I won't discount that. Let's see. Just an attempt by the governing body to keep the sport elitist. Gritters can't afford to pay exorbitant prices. That's a legitimate point to make as well. Archery is expensive. It's really expensive. Hence why you have a huge market on AliExpress or Alibaba and eBay, especially from Chinese companies who are trying to make a buck by selling very affordable things. This just tends to be more popular in the Asian sector because like a lot of like, you know, in Singapore, Malaysia, not so much Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, China, of course, Vietnam, India in some cases, Pakistan, like the South Asia and East Asian countries will often purchase more from eBay and AliExpress for archery equipment. Of course, the Western market is drawn to very cheap gear in general, but the big seller for the Asian market is things like free shipping or low price shipping. And a lot of people contact me and say, I can't afford anything, should I buy from Mandarin Duck? Okay, well, if Mandarin Duck make good gear you can afford, then I can't stop from buying from them, and they make good gear. But yeah, it's a case where if you want like Olympic level equipment that costs like a few $1,000s, good luck with that. Salmon, again, so it's more about the embarrassment as well as the damage to the reputation. Like I said, I can't say what it is and isn't because I'm not affiliated with Archery. I'm not involved in this process. But like, I think it's a combination of things. It's not one or the other. But yeah, well, if you're starting to fake impersonate the like World Archery itself, that's probably like a bigger like a cause or bigger catalyst than the counterfeiting products. Because counterfeiting has been around for ages. Right, it's been around for years, and it's been like, again, like we said in Reddit, it's the elephant in the room which we don't really talk about because we know it's there, but we don't really deal with it. And companies like ATA, organizations like ATA, are making a push to stand against counterfeiting. But yeah, there has to be something else going on. It's probably more to it, and we're only seeing the two sides here. We're seeing World Archery statement, and we're seeing Leo Leo's response. And that's why it's been unusual. We don't normally see this in archery. It's drama. It's news. And we're here talking about like, you know, groupings and like, you know, Korean archer shooting another X10 or something. Nothing special about that. But here we've got this. This is huge. And it just has so many like ramifications and implications and consequences later on. So it's just really interesting to see this. Yeah, I can't really comment on how and why, but it's happened. Riz, China manufacturing is good too. I can't say it's good. Like China, like the reason why costs can be cut in China, there are two things. One is, of course, the cost of labor is much lower, and you can source materials for a lower price. And also, of course, you can cut corners in manufacturing. So the quality control isn't the same as what you find in a legitimate Western manufacturer, for example. So you have cheap manufacturing, and I think someone made a comment before that if it's good, you copy it. That seems to be the Chinese manufacturer's way. Is it good enough? Possibly. Depends on what you're doing. And this is why I think it's almost a non-issue, because like how many people have gone to the top level with Leo Leo equipment? Or anything that's not like Carbon Express or Eastern, for example, right? So it's a bit weird to see it called out now, but there has to be something else happening. Honest, would I be banned if I would try using the Leo Leo equipment? What is the implication on the user? Okay, that's a really good question, actually. That's probably the one I skipped over. But what if you use Leo Leo equipment? This is what I mean by it's a bit vague as to exactly what this statement is telling us. So again, just to go through the statement, for those just joining us, the statement specifically says that archery products produced by and persons representing the company are considered persona non grata. This is why the wording is a bit weird. So the no, actually no, the wording's fine. The company is persona non grata, whereas the archery product and the persons are banned. So if you represent Leo Leo, you are banned. Any product which is brought to World Archery is banned. So I guess technically speaking, Arnis, that means if you brought Leo Leo arrows, you yourself would not be banned. Like, this depends on how exactly the judges are told to enforce this rule, right? So, like, if you are using Leo Leo arrows, from what I understand from the statement, which isn't a rule, but it means you can't use them at World Archery, because World Archery will obviously have promotional photos, they will have video of the event, and they're not going to show Leo Leo products on their like World Cup feed, for example. So that will be the case. I imagine that you yourself might not be banned, but you can't use their equipment in their event, which means if you have a different set of arrows, well, maybe you could. You yourself won't be banned. If you're a pro shooter or pro staff with Leo Leo, that might be a bit more ambiguous, because a pro shooter typically is not an employee. They're sponsored by the company. And if you're sponsored and they pay you, this will obviously cause concern. I imagine a big problem is if you were wearing Leo Leo branded shirts. For example, here I'm wearing a Team Archerology shirt. Yeah, Team Archerology shirt, shout out there. So if, for example, somehow Team Archerology was banned from World Archery, I can't wear this shirt. Right? So, it doesn't mean I can't compete at World Archery events, but I can't wear anything with Archerology branding. And imagine the same goes for Leo Leo. So if you're wearing a Leo Leo shirt, or you're using a Leo Leo product, this is the bad name, Leo Leo product, then that would be disallowed. If you were an employee of Leo Leo, then you would be kicked out. But my understanding is the product does not mean that you can't shoot. It means you can't shoot with that product. The thing, Legendary John, is that it's not about the equipment necessarily. So, like we said, I haven't heard of anyone actually using Leo equipment, but more likely the person, the shooter, might be sponsored by Leo Leo, and that is more of a problem, because the sponsor will pay the archer, or will subsidize their cost. The archer will shoot at the event, and they'll be expected to wear some kind of branding. That's why in practice, all the archers will wear sponsored gear. At the finals, for example, you will see them wear national uniforms. But for the practice rounds, they'll be obligated to wear sponsored clothing. So for state national events, they'll wear sponsored clothing. And for international events, they'll wear their uniform. But in practice, you wear your sponsored shirt. So if you can't wear your sponsored shirt because that's been banned, then that affects you, because obviously that means the company can't promote itself. They won't sponsor you because they can't share their product at the event. So it has more of an effect on the user rather than the actual items used. EL, by the way, just to quickly go through, if you check the link in my description, World Archery has called for a ban on Leo Leo Archery. So all Leo Leo Archery products are banned from World Archery events, and anyone who is representing Leo Leo Archery is considered persona non grata. So they are no longer welcome at any World Archery event. That is the current news event, the breaking news at the moment. I actually have heard of Leo Leo. The only reason I know of them is because people ask me about cheap bows, cheap equipment. So I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about them. Yeah, I've never seen a Leo Leo sponsored world level archer, except when you see they've got the Bhutanese team. So they've sponsored Team Bhutan, and Bhutan isn't exactly a wealthy country, so it's easy for a Chinese company to directly sponsor a national team. All national teams have sponsorships, by the way. So companies will sponsor national teams, or retailers will sponsor national teams. It's fairly normal to see sponsors for national teams. There's no embargo on that. But like I said, for a small country like Bhutan, that's an easy target, pun intended, for a very wealthy company. So it makes sense. I was like, yeah, if you're shooting at world level, John, yeah, you probably will be sponsored by Eastern Hoyt or Win and Win. It depends on how aggressive the marketing is. I mean, sponsorships come as a result of performance. So if you perform well and win like national tournaments, and you have a very good ranking, then you will be approached by sponsors. You can apply for some sponsorships, but really good archers will be headhunted by sponsors. John, is WA saying screw you poor countries? They've never said that. Okay, they've never stopped other countries or any country from competing at an event. Bhutan can go as much as like Fiji or Samoa, so they've never stopped them. The thing is that WA doesn't sponsor anyone. They're the organization which organized the event. The archer themselves or the organization, the national organization, have to arrange for travel, training, accommodation, and so on. So it's not an issue of saying screw the poor countries, but it's more that like it's like people who choose to compete at world level need to somehow support themselves. If a company like if you're not good enough for a top tier company like Win and Win or Hoyt, then you can't afford to buy your own gear, or you can't afford to buy your own arrows. So it may be easy for a smaller company like a Chinese company to give them the arrows, or give them a bow, or give them the equipment. That's the thing there. So it's not so much like screw you to poor countries, but it's easy to exploit an archer from a developing country by giving them access to equipment which otherwise costs a lot, even for their their low prices and low income level. Well, all right. Last questions, guys. This wasn't meant to be a long feed, by the way, or a long stream, but that was the breaking news. You don't see this in archery, so I thought I'd just raise it today. And that's been being passed around the archery circles right now. Really fascinating stuff. Comments on my channel, and we'll look at that as well. I think we've reached the end there. So yeah, that's the news. For those who's just joining me late, as always, the news of the day is that World Archery has officially banned Leo Leo Archery from World Archery events. That's the extent of the news so far. We don't really know much else about exactly how, when, what, who, where, why, but World Archery has fired the first shot. They have banned Leo Leo. Leo Leo have responded with like, no, we're not, sue us please. So that'll be interesting to see how things go. I doubt Leo Leo will make a dent in World Archery or the World Archery community. I mean, sure, we might get some East Asian archers or casual archers complain about this, but I doubt there is going to be a huge like complaint process. So but what's interesting is the ramifications of of singling out one company. So if World Archery is going to ban Leo Leo, who's next? Because Leo Leo is not the only company that is allegedly counterfeiting products. That's interesting. Really interesting. And become the names next year? No, I probably won't be, because like I don't qualify for the the World Championship, so the answer is no. If one day I ever do qualify, then I'll be around. But at the moment, I'm nowhere near qualification. I don't even think about that. I'm doing one thing at a time here. Sensei Archery sounds like a terrible name, by the way. If it'd be like New Archery, that's just the name of the playlist. It's New Archery. Any chance to get another competition with commentary? The answer is no. One, it takes a long time to do, and the timing has to be right in terms of my time zone and my schedule. And the other thing is, it's copyright. It's the footage is owned by the broadcaster, so I can't legally use it. If I do use it, I get demonetized, which is, I don't care about the money, but I find that the actual commentators do a really good job as it is, and I rather watch and occasionally type in chat rather than make a second stream. I don't think archery is popular enough for 2 simultaneous streams. It doesn't make any sense to do so. So the answer is probably not honest, because it's just not something that's kind of worth doing. As interesting as it is, the actual official feed is probably better than what I can do, honestly. And the more experienced archers and people just generally more interesting to watch. I'll be like, yeah, bad shot, not a very good shot. That's pretty good. No, that's okay. So I'm not gonna be very interesting to watch, unfortunately. Okay, I will end the stream there, guys. So that's the breaking news. Hope you found that interesting. Thank you for joining me again. I will be doing likely another live stream covering a form check in the next week or so, because I've got quite a few lined up, hopefully. So again, thank you for joining me. Hopefully this doesn't I'm sorry, yeah, you're right. I don't have to qualify for names. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of the World Archery Indoor Championships. Names is an event. It's not the championship. You're right. Yeah, I haven't thought about it. I don't even shoot indoors, so I have no idea. But thanks for reminding me that. Anyway, I will see you all next time. Ciao.